All this week, our guests are walking in the same direction. March along with this morning's guest. Coming up next on Carolina People. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning we're at South Carolina's most visited attraction, Ripley's Aquarium. It's Walk America Week, and we're visiting with Coleen Shanley, the Community Director of the PD Division of the March of Dimes. Good morning, Coleen.
Good morning, Greg.
Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
To Ripley's Aquarium.
I know,
what about this place?
It's a great place to come to.
Isn't it amazing?
Absolutely.
It is such a blessing to get in here and to think about all the big walks coming up in the PD.
Right.
And throughout the Strand as well. But of course, over the month of April and into early May, a lot's going to be happening.
There's a lot happening, absolutely, in a lot of communities across the country, actually.
Is that right?
Absolutely. We'll have over 1,100 walks during the month of April and May.
You are kidding,
Yes.
Coleen. How exciting. A lot of walking going on.
Very busy.
Good for health and good for babies.
Absolutely.
What are the biggest walks coming up? I mean, what's the big focus right now for you, and how do you begin preparing over the next month? I guess you've been preparing all year long.
Actually, we do. We actually prepare as soon as the walk finishes, we start again. But really, we kicked off probably towards the end of January, and the people have been campaigning since then, and just really excited in all the communities that we do. The PD Division does 5 spring walks.
Okay.
And I do 3 of those walks in smaller communities, Loris, Lake City, and Dillon County.
And where are the other 2 walks in the PD Division in the spring?
Horry County, Myrtle Beach area, as well as Georgetown.
Good. Well, later this week, obviously, Linda Puckett will be with us tomorrow talking about the Forest Brook Walk, her school's walk, which will be held, I think, on Wednesday.
Right.
And then, of course, Dennis Wade, the former chair of the Horry County Walk for a couple of years, will be with us on Wednesday. Ryan Swain will be with us, I believe, on Thursday. And then Coach David Bennett for the Horry County Walk America, the honorary chairman, will be with us this Friday. So a lot going on.
A lot going on. You've got some great volunteers that really support the March of Dimes, and we're so blessed to have them.
Oh, yeah, very definitely. Volunteers really help run the show, Coleen.
That's who runs the show, Greg, in all honesty. I mean, we're staff people, we're staff liaisons, we're the helpers and the cheerleaders, but the people in the communities are really the ones that are making a huge difference in the lives of babies across the state.
What about yourself, Coleen? Are you originally from the area?
No, you probably might hear from my accent a little bit.
No,
I'm
it sounds
originally
pretty
from
south.
New Jersey, but I've actually been here about 12 years now, so I kind of consider this home, and a lot of family members live here as well, so I'm fortunate.
What brought you to the Palmetto State?
Oh my goodness, just the hospitality alone, the great weather, the beaches. In New Jersey, they're not the greatest of beaches, and I have to say that, but just really a wonderful mix of people, and just real sweet and very hospitable. Absolutely,
sure. And of course, when you think about moving to another state, do you still have family in the New Jersey area, or any of them have come down here, followed you?
A lot of them have come down here, actually. Some of them before I got here, but some of them still back in New Jersey. And it's a great time to go visit them in the fall when things are, real pretty up there. We don't really get that much fall weather and whatnot, and the colors and the changes of season. So that's usually when I like to go back to New Jersey.
I'm surprised none of them have followed you down here, Coleen.
Some of them have, but there's still a few back there.
Right. Of course, when we think about walks and events for the March of Dimes, you all have events in the PD Division all year long. It's not just walks. Of course, you've got other big events.
Right. We actually also do 2 fall walks, as well as the Signature Chef's Auction, which is one of my favorite.
Right.
And then the Real Estate Award that we actually just changed our name, so we'll be having a new name to that, and I'm excited about that as well.
Yes, that's a big deal. And of course, when you see around the state those events that go on, of course, there's walks not only in the PD Division. Of course, when viewers hear the PD Division, what are the counties that are covered in the PD Division that you and Joe Fisher and all the volunteers are covering?
Well, we actually cover, as I said, Horry County, Georgetown County, Loris, even though that's part of Horry County, Loris does their own walk.
Right.
Lake City, Dillon County, Marion County, and Marlborough County. So
Is that right?
We're all over the area. So.
Wow. Does Florence itself do its own walk?
Florence does do its own walk, and actually it was part of the PD division, but because that walk has grown so much, that actually is the Midlands division that handles that walk.
Is that right? I wonder when theirs is held. You may not even know.
Actually, theirs is held the same day I'm doing my Lake City walk on May 5th.
Oh, on May 5. Son
yes.
of a gun.
Yes.
Well, that will be, of course, an exciting day, and I'm surprised I ought to check with them about making sure to highlight that event as well.
Absolutely.
May 5 is a big date. Of course, so many of our viewers in the PD are right there in Florence, but at the same time, obviously, today's an opportunity to highlight the 3 walks that you're intimately involved with. If there's a viewer in Lake City or a viewer in Dillon, for instance, or even a viewer in Loris, what could they do now? And let's go over those 3 dates, and what are some of the things they could do now to still be involved?
Well, anybody can start at any time. It doesn't matter that we kicked off the walk officially in January. They can start at any time, and just, even go ask friends and family members. A great way to do some fundraising is through online fundraising, and they can just go on to walkamerica.org/South Carolina, and they can register right online and do their fundraising by sending emails to their friends and family, and that way it kind of gets a broad scope out to, they can be sending emails to South Dakota or to California, and it really gets the awareness out to so many more people. So,
have you found the internet as a vehicle that a lot of walkers turn to?
They do. It's a great way, like I said, to fundraise, and people don't have to worry about doing bake sales and doing yard sales and the other fun things that they like to do. You can do it right from home, and maybe they can have it, if they have a 15-minute break at work, they may send out a few emails then. And the great thing is like I said, it gets to other people, and they can have them forward it to their friends and family, and so many more people will get involved and know the awareness.
That's great. Speaking of the internet, oftentimes so many folks just take advantage of the telephone, and that's a good opportunity to highlight what's the best number if a viewer needs to get off to work now or out to school. What's the best number for someone to call to learn more about the 3 upcoming walks that you're particularly involved in, Coleen?
The PD division is 843-488-3463.
Okay, yeah, I know a lot of folks can remember it. I know I remember it, the 488 DIME.
Right, exactly.
DIME, which is great. And it's tough for folks to forget the March of Dimes. And, for viewers who aren't familiar with the March of Dimes, what's the background for the organization, Coleen? How did it get started?
Well, actually, the organization started in 1938. President Franklin Delano Roosevelt was stricken with polio. And because it was debilitating so many hundreds of thousands of children and adults as well, he decided to start the organization. And so people just started collecting money and sending dimes into the White House, and that's how we got our name. And from that time until 1955, the Salk vaccine was actually able to help eradicate polio in the United States.
Right.
And then from that time on, there were still so many things, Greg, debilitating children and babies. And so the mission is to improve the health of babies by preventing birth defects, premature birth, and infant mortality. And actually that premature birth actually just came in a couple of years ago.
Really?
Because it's a national health crisis now.
Is that a big crisis, Coleen?
It absolutely is. There are, in just South Carolina alone, every day 24 babies are born prematurely.
Oh, come on.
Absolutely, 24.
And prematurity is defined, I know obviously when we were out at Redline Power Sports not long ago, Holly Hayes was with us. Is there a basic definition of prematurity? I think she may have talked about earlier than 31 weeks or 32 weeks, or is it even further along in the pregnancy than that?
Well, a full-term healthy baby is actually 40 weeks gestation.
Right.
Anything less than 37 weeks is considered a premature birth.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yes. It's not definition by birth weight. There is low birth weight as well. But most of these babies are born, Greg, so small and too soon. 1 pound. There's actually nationally a story where Amelia Taylor down in Florida was born weighing 10 ounces.
Oh, come on. 10 ounces and survived.
10 ounces and did survive. And we hope that there's no complications, that she has to deal with, later down in life. But, some of these babies don't get to go home. Some of them stay in the neonatal intensive care units for many months, and the roller coaster ride is basically how the families define what they're feeling during this time.
What is causing the prematurity? What is causing that in births in women?
I wish I could tell you, in all honesty. I mean, in half the cases, we don't know why. Yes, there are some things in the way of smoking, in the way of multiple births, and alcohol or drug related. But in half the cases, we just don't know why. I mean, in so many cases, I keep hearing throughout the communities that I work in is that mom did everything right, had the best prenatal care, and still the baby came too soon and too small. So we're still trying to find the answers, and that's why it's so important. But as I said, every year, the statistics have gone up. In the past 3 years that I've worked for the organization, almost 15%.
Is that right?
Yes.
15% in the last how many years?
3 years.
Is that right?
Yes.
Coleen, that's terrible.
It is terrible. It is terrible. And until we find the answers, anybody's baby could be next.
That is tragic. We could almost end the interview on that because that's such a big deal.
It
That
is.
highlights the importance of really making sure to get out the walkers. Now, if you live in Dillon, can you come over for the Lake City Walk? Is it open to the public? Are there incentives? If you live in Horry County, can you travel to Dillon for the walk? Are there...
We open the walk up to anybody who wants to come from wherever they want to come from, but I don't know if they'll want to really drive from Horry County to Dillon.
Sure.
But, in
I
Dillon
think about
County,
that only because of dates. If someone can't
Absolutely.
walk on the 21st of April in, Loris,
right.
then they may want to go to the Lake City Walk on the 28th. They're walking the Horry County Walk
Right.
here on the 28th.
Right. Well, that's the great thing about Loris and Myrtle Beach. They're walking, actually, Loris is walking a week ahead of the Myrtle Beach Walk, the Horry County Walk. So, absolutely, we would welcome them in Loris, absolutely.
That's right.
And from wherever they want to come to just participate. The walk itself is our celebration.
Yes.
It's our celebration for all the teams and the individuals that are out there raising money so that we can get the research done and find out why this is happening in the country.
Research dollars are critical. What is the percentage of dollars that are applied towards research? Do you have any idea, Coleen?
Actually, I'm really proud to say and work with an organization, especially the South Carolina chapter, because we really utilize the dollars in the way that they should be, and that's towards the mission. 95% of the money is put towards the mission, towards research.
95%?
95%, Greg.
That's a very lean operation.
Absolutely.
No wonder it's just you and Joe Fisher traveling 10 counties.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And everything at the walks that you see, from the food to the door prizes and to all different kinds of parts of it, are donated.
Wow.
I mean, we're on a free, donated. And that's so important. And that's why I said I'm just really proud to work for this chapter, because they really put the money where it should be.
Right.
We have too many questions unanswered, and we really need to find out why.
That is critical, Coleen. Let's talk about the 3 walks themselves. We've only got about 10 minutes. Let's highlight those 3 walks and what viewers could do today, March 26th, to still be involved in the events.
Well, I'm really proud to be working with these communities for the past 2 to 3 years. Loris's Walk is going to be on April 21st, which is Saturday. It's going to be at the Loris Extended Care Facility. We'll start the registration at 9:30 and we start walking at 10. And all of the walks actually do registration at 9:30 and start at 10.
Is that right?
Yes,
okay, all of the walks.
All the walks that I'm going to mention.
Okay,
Horry County goes a little bit earlier because you have a much bigger participation.
Hey now.
And whatnot. So, but then we've got the next walk that'll be taking place is Dillon County, which is going to be on Saturday, April 28th, and that happens to be our National Walk America Day. So Dillon County, along with Horry County, is going to be walking with hundreds of other counties and communities in the United States on that day.
Okay.
And then and that's going to be taking place at Dillon High School. And then on Saturday, May 5th, I'll be in Lake City with hundreds of volunteers and participants at Lions Park.
Great. You said in Lake City. That's the walk I enjoyed a few years ago. You have a tremendous groundswell of support there in that community for that walk. I remember it vividly. It was beautiful.
It actually is a really great walk, and I've been very fortunate to work with a volunteer and chair person, Linda Godwin, who is so passionate about babies. And I'm fortunate in all my communities. I've got Cynthia Hewlin as my walk chair with Debbie Locklear, who happens to be the administrator for McLeod Medical Center, Dillon.
Great. Wow.
In the Dillon Walk. And then I have Debbie Nance as well as Kip Jordan in the Loris helping us with chair and revenue chair. And so I've got a really great, strong committee put together with volunteers in those communities helping me to be able to help babies.
And I'm sure you've got some tremendous sponsors at each of the 3 locations, Coleen, but are there still sponsorship opportunities available? Any types of sponsorship opportunities? If a viewer right now worked at a company in Loris or in Lake City or in Dillon that possibly is interested in saving babies and fighting a prematurity, what could a viewer do to talk to their employer about possibly being a part of the walks on the 21st, 28th, or May 5th?
Well, I would definitely suggest that they call the office. Again, it's 843-488-3463.
Okay.
And just contact and just let me know what walk site they're interested in.
Right.
And definitely sponsorship. We have so many smaller sponsors that can
Yes.
go up until just about the day of the walk in the way of signs, so local businesses can get involved in, and we have signs that we put on the walk route and banners. Those are smaller sponsorships. Some of the larger ones are definitely, we won't be able to offer that,
Right.
but we can definitely, take names for next year.
You'll find a way. That's right. And I'm sure
Absolutely.
oftentimes you come up with creative ways. I know how you and Joe Fisher work. And we're sorry we don't have Joe with us this week for Walk
Right.
America Week, but I know how you and Joe work, making things happen, to come up with ideas, to generate more dollars, to make sure that more dollars can be pumped into research. I've seen both of y'all in action.
Well, we definitely are. We have a passion, for the babies. It's so hard to go and hear stories, to go to a neonatal intensive care
Yes.
unit and see firsthand these babies that are born 1 pound, 2 pounds, and hear the stories of the troubles that these families go through, and the cost of it, is just astronomical.
Please share with viewers a little bit about the trip that you and Joe and Ozell Newman took recently to visit the neonatal intensive care unit at McLeod.
Well, Joe and I have been doing this for the past 3 years since I started with the organization, and it's something that you really, in all honesty, Greg, you have to get yourself psyched up to go see, because it's definitely an experience that you're not going to forget. We actually went up there in February, and we
Right.
took some Valentine treats because it was around that time for the
Right.
families. But we're able to see up close a 1 pound 8 ounce baby,
Oh my Lord!
and just
1 pound 8 ounce. What? Can you describe what that? I can't even fathom that.
well, just like you're saying, it's something that you can't fathom. These babies are just, if you just cup your hands, if your viewers just cup their hands
Right.
and just that's about as small as that baby's going to fit in the palm of your hand. It's overwhelming. It takes your breath away to know that these babies are struggling to survive. But I have to say, with the research, with those NIC units, those were things that were partly funded by the dollars that the March of Dimes have been able to collect from volunteers, and surfactant therapy, which almost every premature baby has to have a shot of in order to survive because of their underdeveloped lungs. So to see the technology and see how the doctors and nurses are caring for these babies is it's overwhelming.
Absolutely.
But it's definitely something that if you have the opportunity to go do, I definitely recommend that you do it. We've taken a lot of our volunteers from different communities. They do tours. We happen to go to McLeod Medical Center in Florence. There's only 3 of those neonatal intensive care unit facilities in the state.
In the state, is that right? And one's
That's
in the
right.
PD.
And then we have actually, most babies are not, born here if they're that premature. If they are, they're transported immediately to either MUSC down in Charleston or to McLeod Medical Center in Florence.
Okay.
Or they might even go to Greenville.
Right.
But these babies are they're too small and too weak to survive in just a regular hospital. There's definitely more technology and more doctors and skilled doctors and nurses to care for them.
That is so great to know that for folks that are having premature babies in the PD, that they can turn to a homegrown, a hometown medical center there for support, and that there is a NICU facility there, and
Right.
during the course of that time they don't have to be traveled, even though I'm sure it's very safe,
Right.
down to Charleston or up to the upstate. It's great to be able to stay right here at home.
Absolutely, and I know that Joe and I constantly get phone calls from people who are just not sure, how to handle it. Even whether it's a mother or a father or a family member or a church member or whatever, and we just encourage them to call us.
Yes.
Because we want to be there. We want to be there for the support. We want to give them some answers, some hope, so that they know that they're not the only one going through this, and we can share some information with them and help them and encourage them.
I'm just amazed that you and Joe Fisher have time to do all this, Coleen. I don't know how you do it. I know you find a way Hey, but you've got 3 walks in the next 5 weeks.
Yes.
In the next 5 to 6 weeks.
Right.
You've got you're going to be showing up there on the Saturday, and I'm sure it's not just that day. You've got bank days, I guess, for each of the 3 walks.
Right. We do the bank days the Thursday before the walk, right before the walk, so that way we can tell our volunteers what they've raised. And sometimes, Greg, I mean, I don't get there and get to say that, we've made our goal. And then we sometimes encourage them to continue fundraising. I mean, we'll take money all the way to December 31st.
Really? Until the end of the year? That's great.
Absolutely, absolutely. Like I said, there's just so much to be done and so many questions to be answered, and it's not going to be done overnight. So we definitely encourage people to, whether they're in a walk that's very close to them or they just want to make that donation, please do. Call us. We'll give you the address, and you can send it in.
For a viewer who couldn't be in Loris on April 21st, or at Dillon on April 28th, or a viewer in Lake City who couldn't be at that walk on May 5th, they could call your number to get an address to send in a donation up until the end of the year and still apply it towards that walk.
Absolutely.
That's great.
They just definitely need to call us and just let us know, and I'll apply it to whatever walk that they want it to go to.
That's great. That's so important in a community for folks to feel like I can be a part of making a difference, for goals to be met, because goals are so critical, and obviously you all set those year after year, working with the state organization, with Kathy and Holly and all the folks that are involved, and making sure you all set appropriate goals and meet them.
Absolutely, and the goals aren't the easiest to meet sometimes, but the statistics are going up, Greg, so we have to do whatever we can. And I'm very fortunate to work in communities that just really roll up their sleeves, and they just dig deep, and they just really put their effort into helping us for the babies.
We've just got a couple of minutes, Coleen. We haven't talked about the practical side of what a viewer could do now if they can't be a sponsor, but what can they do to still be involved in the walk? Do they have to put together a team? How large do the teams have to be? What could they do now to be involved in one of these 3 walks?
Well, a team could be as small as one person. I mean, you can consider yourself a team if you're just one individual person. Like I said, they can go and register online, walkamerica.org/South Carolina, and register. They could do online fundraising. They can just go out into the community and just ask for donations to their friends, family, church member, local businesses. They can call the March of Dimes office, and I can get them started. They can join another team. Maybe there's another community company or another individual that wants to put it together a team, or they're already established as a team. They can just call me at the March of Dimes office. I'd be glad to help them out in any way that I possibly can.
That's great. If they called, you could give them a list of some of the teams in their community. If they don't want to just set up a small family team, you could say there's such and such teams in this community. I'm sure they'd be happy for you to walk on their team.
Absolutely, and I can let them know that.
That's tremendous. Golly, Coleen, when you think about it, and of course driving home the mission of saving babies, and that sounds like such a big mission, and folks oftentimes think, what can my dollar or $5 or $10 really do in making a difference? But when you go back to 1938 and you think about those dimes adding up, everything really makes a difference.
Everything does. No donations too small, just our babies, Greg. So we've just got to keep doing what we can in order for them to have a healthy and prosperous life.
What do you think gives you that drive, Coleen, to stick it out, to continue to work so hard? I think you talked about recently at a PD division board meeting that you're putting 1,000 miles or more on your car every week. When you think about that, what do you think has given you this drive to keep plugging away so hard for the March of Dimes?
Well, without a doubt, I mean, I started the organization because of my love for babies, but the volunteers are just so important to me, and I love each and every one of them in the communities. I've been very fortunate to work with new ones and old ones and veteran ones, and they continue to make me strive to do all that I can for these babies, because they're so innocent, and these families, like I said, don't know that these things are going to happen necessarily, and some families just have no idea what the road ahead is going to look like, and I can almost kind of see some of the roads that are traveled from other families. So I just continue to dig in because of my passion for babies. I want them all to have a fighting chance to survive.
Those are tremendous words. Coleen, thanks so much for being with us this morning, and good luck on the 3 walks coming up.
Thank you, Greg. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Stay tuned to more Carolina People with Coleen Shanley coming up next. Think about it, 24 babies will be born prematurely in South Carolina today. Today. Can you make a difference? Yes, you can. There are 3 big events. One's less than a month away. 2 are right after that. The phone number's simple. Write this down, 843-488-3463. That's 843-488-DIME. Take the time to write that down. Make a difference. 24 babies will be born prematurely today. You can make a difference. The walk's on April 21st in Loris. April 21st. Call that number or just show up that day. Get out there. Registration's at 9:30. The walk's at 10 o'clock. On April 28th, National Walk America Day. You can be a part. Get to Dillon on April 28th. It'll be a tremendous day. Rain or shine, they'll be out there. 9:30 registration. The walk's at 10 o'clock. Or even a little further out, right into early May. May 5th in Lake City. Registration, same time, 9:30. The walk kicks off at 10. There's a groundswell of support in that community. You can be a difference in helping the fight against prematurity. Take the time. Call 843-488-3463.